Everyone, and welcome to today's video. Here we are. I'll be practicalizing another method of making a neem soap or making an herbal soap. You can call it a neem soap, you can call it an herbal soap, you can call it a treatment soap. So we can use the neem oil, we can use the neem leaf like I used in the previous video, and we can use the neem powder. So all these three categories, we can classify them as the neem soap. So I'm making this kind of reference so that we understand how detailed our paid class is. This is just like a scoop, you know, or a spoon scoop from the raw kind of things we teach in the paid class. So we are teaching you several methods, several ways of being able to produce a particular thing. And we'll be talking about the financial implication. In the last video, I spoke about how we're supposed to calculate, how we're supposed to sell those things. So here, I'm giving us other exposure into the reference and into the different ways we can make our neem back. Come along with me as I put you through some explanations on the different ways, the further different ways of making this neem soap. Let's go there. Fermented neem oil. You know, we use the neem leaf, you know, blended it the way you saw in the last video, and we, after blending it, this is the extract we came out with. So we can refer to this as the neem leaf oil. Now here is my fragrance. I'm using lavender for this production. If you are using it for a basic treatment, you can decide to add fragrance or not. And here is my silicate. We all know that silicate is important because it's going to help us to smoothen the soap. We have a smooth surface of the soap. Now here is my neem powder. Now here is my PKO. This is supposed to be an half-liter solution. But like I explained in the oil production stage, anytime we dissolve our leaf or our powders inside our oil, the oil is usually reduced. By the time you measure it into your container, it will be reduced from the measurement that it was from when you poured it and used it to extract that oil from the powder or content from the powder, the leaf or the roots. So here is my, so because this will not be able to complete half liter that I need, I'm having PKO here. That is number one. Secondly, because I want to do two processes, I want to use the neem oil. I had already used the fermented neem leaf for that previous video. Here I'll be using the neem oil, and we'll still be able to refer to that soap as neem soap. I will also be using neem powder, and we'll still be able to refer to that soap as a neem bar. So in this preparation, I'm driving to a point, driving to the fact that we have several purposes of reaching an end, and we can calculate the cost of production in different ways, so that different vendors will come up with different prices, and we'll be able to understand that that may be the case, but it doesn't mean that the soap or the production or what it is that we are doing is not going to give the same results, or but can come in different prices. So here is my fermented soda ash, and here is my fermented caustic soda. For the purpose of this production, I'll be using half liter of PKO, and I'll be giving us the exact details of the measurement of caustic soda we're supposed to ferment to be able to use to put inside the PKO, and the measurement of caustic soda ash are supposed to ferment in water to be able to dissolve our soda ash. So let's go into the production proper. So here is my spatula. I'll be using this spatula for my production. Sorry about this. This is where I removed my neem powder. Let me put this aside. So you will be seeing some particles. Never mind, it's just the neem particle because I removed it and it's already having but let me put it on this container. So here is my sodium sulfate. I've been needing this to add in up the soap a little. So I want to use this to serve as my measurement. Never mind, I used this cup already for one or two production, but it's still soap, so we have nothing to bother about. So I'm demonstrating this so that we have an understanding, a pure and a well understanding of this. You can see this is quarter cup, this is 250 ml cup. I'm pouring it into this. You can see, look at how beautiful this oil is. Check it out, check it out. Look at the greenish color. You know, it is obvious. You can compare this you can see the difference, you know, because this is already translated into neem oil. You can see that this is PKO, so we use PKO to ferment this. Now you remember that I did sunflower oil and other ones. We can decide to top this now. Assuming I have sunflower is a soft oil, I can top it with this and I will be good to go. Sorry about that noise. So because I need half liter, I'll be adding PKO palm kernel oil to this to complete the half liter that I need for this production. So I'm pouring this inside here, and this is my half liter solution. So when you are making production, this is a form of cold process soap making. You are supposed to use it in ratio 2:1/2. So this, I'm using 2 cups to make my, so I've measured 2 cups of my oil, then I'll be measuring 1 cup of my caustic soda. I have made a video on plain soap that is not herbal on this format before. I even showed us the process of measuring this. So I hope we are going to understand this production better. I'm finding it difficult to open this because I have to cover it well so that it is not going to pour off, you know, while I'm moving it from place to place. So here is my fermented caustic soda. Now I'll have done half of this so that I can use my oil for something else. But because some people have difficulty when it comes to measurement, the meal, the CL, and that is why I advise you, if you want a proper understanding of some of these things, you need to register for the paid class. If you want to be able to understand the rudiment of soap making, coming to the paid class will do you a lot of good. So you can see exactly the same place I measured while I was measuring this. It's the same place I measured when I did it, but this is just a cup. So I'm pouring it into my container. I'm using a measurement cup because my production, what I'm producing is not that much. That is why I decided to use this whatever. I really hope it will occupy what I want to do. I don't have enough containers. I'm just managing, and I came home to do this, so you really need to bear with me. So for those of us that have watched the initial Neem video, you will realize that I used the bigger container. So I'm sorry I have to use this because I already fermented my caustic soda, my soda ash into this. So you have to understand and manage this with me. So we can see the color. You can see the color of the soap. The only difference in this and that other one is that when we made that other soap, the color was deeper. We had a very deep color. So adding your caustic soda, this is cold process. It doesn't really need so much tonic. You can see how smooth the soap is. Now I must warn us, the smell of neem to some people may not be a palatable smell. So you just have to manage that smell. Now I measured this already, measuring a full cup, and now I'll be measuring half of this measurement, which is 125 ml. So that means that we use 500 ml of our oil, we use 250 ml of our caustic soda, fermented caustic soda, and we are going to be using 125 ml of our fermented soda ash. Now, when you pour in your fermented caustic soda, you can actually pour it at once. I've explained this over and over. I hope that existing subscribers will become pro by me producing this and watching me do some of these videos over and over. But when it comes to adding your soda ash, you add it little by little. I like to use, for those of us in the paid class, you know, you can call me a foodie. I wouldn't get upset over that. I like to make example with my food and anything that has to do with food. For those of us that take pap, or maybe Yoruba speaking people, we call it akamu. When you prepare your pap and it's too thick, and you want the pap to, the thickness to be a little bit lighter, you can see how thick this. By the time you want to add water to it, you're not going to pour a whole lot of water at once. You pour the water, you pour a little bit of water, you mix it thoroughly, you mix it thoroughly, make sure that you are not seeing any sign of water in it. You know, make sure that there's no sign of water inside that your production. Then the moment you can no longer see any sign of water, then you add more. Now there's something we call measurement discounts in our production. Those in the paid class will have a clearer understanding of this. But what that simply means is that sometimes we may not finish using our soda ash. While you are mixing this together, you will be noticing if there's any reaction. You'll be noticing if the water is separating from that thing that you are producing or not. So as a producer, as a DIY producer, you must be watchful. Just like you are frying something on fire. I'll come back to my food. I'm so sorry. If you are frying something and you will be checking the color, let's assume that you are frying plantain. You are not going to time it that 10 minutes. I will put my plantain on fire for 10 minutes. And you can see that this thing is already turning from gold to brown and brown to black. You won't do that. So because we have the measurements in mind, sometimes our measurement may not just be 100% accurate. Therefore, when you are mixing this like this, you will be watching out. Is there any reaction? Is the soap turning from very smooth to separating? You know, you may turn it and everything. You can see this part that is not well mixed. At a point, you may realize that everything is just this way. Then you have to stop. We call it water discount. You know, it's called water discount. So when you see that there's a kind of reaction in that production, that's okay, after mixing it a little, it's not mixing together, the oil and the water is separating, then you probably have to stop adding that soda ash. It wouldn't do the soap any bad. Your soap will still come out nice, your soap will still be okay, it will still wash anything that you want to wash, it will still foam very well. So never mind, when you do water discount, it has no negative implication on your production. In fact, for newbies in production, it has a very good implication because your soap will remain your soap. You'll be able to pour it into the mold and you have a wonderful production. Now, for those people that have often asked questions about why are we use, some people don't use soda ash in their production. That is going to be talked about in details in the paid class. Why some people use production. Now, there are several methods of production. You can use your expertise, like when you soak this caustic soda, when you already mastered that any caustic soda is soak. When you soak 1 kg, this is the liter of water you use to soak it, and it has always come out fine. That is when you have first of all started using your hydrometer, or you are using your saponification value, or you are using any other means. After a particular time, you master the measurement that you use, especially if you are a natural soap maker and you are always probably doing the cold process. So if you are not a pro in this, then you have to follow the step by step. In fact, sometimes just the way this nylon is, you may have to put your book and be following the step by step of this is what you are supposed to do, or this is what you are supposed not to do. I know some people used to use cookery book to cook. There's no harm in using cookery book to make your soap, if that will be what will give you the result that you want. So we are done with adding our soda ash. We didn't do any discount because as we are adding it, we can see that the soap is, the soda ash is being digested and our soap is so fine. You can see this is the outcome of our soap. But don't be carried away by the outcome. That will now not make you add the few other things. So I'll be adding in my silicates just a little. You know, you can do without your silicates. It's actually not compulsory. But for your production to be complete, just like some people cook their soup without Maggi, you know, you don't have to add any kind of Maggi to your soup, or seasoning rather. You can cook your soup. If you add crayfish, if you add some other natural spices, the food will still taste nice. So the same way, our silicate may not be compulsory. It is necessary, but definitely not compulsory. I will also be adding my sodium silicate, just a pinch of that. You can decide to add this to your soda ash water, but I prefer to add this like this because sometimes when I make this kind of soap, I use my fermented soda ash to do several other productions. So if I add my sodium sulfate to the soda ash while I'm fermenting it, I may not be able to get the expected result that I want. So based on that, I prefer to soak in my soda ash and my caustic soda. Don't forget I said I will be giving us the recipe for this. You know, if I decide to explain the fermentation of this plenty caustic soda or the plenty soda ash, it will be confusing for the newbies. That is why I would rather give you the recipe for this small batch that I'm making. And if you make this small batch and it comes out nice, please come to our Telegram group and post it. Let us rejoice with you. Let us correct you if there's any mistake. Let us use this. Now, for those people that participated in the, or maybe are going to participate because we are yet to do the live section, for those people, they will be sending them samples of this Neem bar, because as it is, we'll be making 3 different samples. I already made one. This is the second one. I'll be sending us samples for review so that you can review it. You can tell us how you feel about the soap. You can make yours as well and give us feedback. So here is my lavender perfume. I'm not going to use all this. This is 30 ml. So lavender perfume. I'll be adding, let me just say, maybe 10 ml. Actually, when it comes to fragrance and color, is to taste. You add it to your taste. The measurement you want, you add it to your taste. So I'll be adding this lavender, just that one cover. Everybody has that something like that has that cover into your soap. So there are several other fragrances, and you are supposed to make your choice when it comes to fragrance. However, for those of us that intends to come to the paid class, we are going to be explaining in details why some other kind of perfumes are preferred to some other types in bar soap production. There are several fragrances, there are several productions. Let me remove this so that you can see. You can see the soap. You can see my spatula. You can see the soap is smooth from the up to the down. You can see. So I'll be pouring in my soap into my mold. But like we know, for those of us that have been coming along, you can see we have to oil our container. I'm using this as an improvised container anyway. We have other molds and some other soap that I'll be posting. Some of my molds has soap in it already. There will be some that I'll be doing that I'll still be using soap. But I don't want the fact that soap, I already poured soap into some of my molds to be the disadvantage for me, not to have a place to pour. Or I think I still have a mold that I can use for this, so that the soap will be the same measurements. Let me get my mold so that those ones that I said I'm going to give out, it's going to be the same size of soap that I'll be giving out. So I'm changing my mind. So viewers out there, I hope you got the message. I'll be sending you reviews on this. I'll be sending you, you'll be seeing the recipe of this soap, you know. So when you produce yours, please let me know. If you are wondering how we did this, we are going to be seeing this video up here. Please check up so that or in the description you will see the way we made this neem oil. It's going to be there. If you want to make this process, if you want to make the previous one, if you want to make the next one I'll be producing now, all those 3 can be referred to as herbal soap, and they can serve the function of the neem. I told you that our neem can serve as an antiseptic, and it can serve as an antiseptic. It can also serve as a medicated. That means that the neem can be used to prevent. It can also cure. So please make sure that, yes, thank you. I'm already here with my my mold. So I'll be using this mold now. So make sure whichever one you are making, you are using your mold without you are making your soap and you are knowing the purpose. So what that means is that are you a student? Are you I usually like to add a little oil into my silicone, even though it's not compulsory. Adding oil into your silicone mold is not as compulsory as other containers, but I still sometimes just like to add it so that by the time I want to remove it, you know, silicone molds, the texture of the silicone already helps in the texture of the silicone mold already helps in removing the soap. So sometimes if you add too much oil in your silicone mold, it will affect the soap, you will see oil on the different sides of the soap. So you can see me pouring in my soap. So actually I intended to pour this into different modes, but you can see that I'm changing my mind already. So this will take 2 liters, and we all will see how I'm going to be going about that. So the next production, I will be a little fast so that I will be able to pour it inside this mold together. So I'll be using the same fragrance. So never mind, this may look a little messy, but let's leave it like that so that I can make the other soap I intend to pour into it. So we are just going to repeat the same thing, but in this case I'm going to be using my neem powder. So remember that we measured 2 of this. 1, and then 2. I'm going to put this aside. There's my PKO. I would like to put this aside so that I've made some videos that I had to start apologizing for people not seeing what I was actually adding together. So I don't want the same thing to happen here. So here is my caustic soda. For those of us that have followed me from the beginning, you know we use ratio 2:1/2. So you can see the way I poured in my caustic soda. I didn't do it gradually the way I added my soda ash. I hope you can see that the color varies. So you don't need a mixer to make this little one. This we can be used by a family of 4 for months. This 1 liter production, because we use ½ liter of the oil initially and we are using ½ liter. So by the time we complete this container, then it can be used for months for a family of 4. So if you are trying to prevent any rashes, all those periods that children will start having chicken pox, maybe the rainy season or some other measles and all those stuff, if you start seeing it around, you can make this soap to prevent your children from having such. Also, if other children has it, or maybe the children already has it, you can use this soap when you rub the calamine lotion on their body. You can use this soap to wash it off, to make sure that to further heal them of whatever it is that is on their body. So now I told us I wanted to be a little bit fast with this. I'll be adding in my soda ash, my fermented soda ash. So here is my fermented soda ash. So we use, this is 1/8 cup. This cup is actually 125 ml, but I like to pour it here so that you see the measurements as I'm using it. So back to our little by little. You can turn it any way you like. What is important is that what you are adding should mix thoroughly inside it. That's all. Make sure it is thoroughly mixed before you add another one. time you may have issues is if you did not measure when you were dissolving your caustic soda or your soda ash, you didn't measure your water well. You may have issues with the soap separating if you are using this formula. Another time you may have issue is if you buy a bad oil. I made a video on that. If you buy a bad PK oil, you may have issues because the soap will just start separating and you'll be wondering why. But if these things are perfect, I will not say maybe you are going to have a bad caustic soda or a bad soda ash. Yes, we have different kind of caustic soda or soda ash, but their strength is very similar. And if you doubt it or you are making a large proportion, please use your hydrometer. Use your hydrometer to measure and make sure that you have the right proportion. Otherwise, just follow the recipe that I've written. If your PKO is in order, your caustic soda, you follow the measurements. You make sure that your measurement is intact. If your measurement is intact, you are not going to have any issue. Your soap will come out really nice. Then I'm adding in the last batch. I'm not as gradual as the initial one because I already explained why I'm adding it gradually, and because I don't intend to do any discounts in this, I just added it. So our soap is ready. I'll be adding in the sodium sulfate. Make sure you check for seed in your sodium sulfate so that will not be what will create lumps inside the soap. Have you heard of Kampala soap? Because our soap will likely be forming something like that as we'll be pouring this. I don't know if I already added my silicates. I don't think so. The sodium sulfate and the silicate can come interchangeably. It doesn't have to be sodium sulfate first or silicate first. So, because we refer to this as our Neem bar, we are going to be adding in our Neem powder. Now my eye is actually slippery. I need help with this. So while I'm waiting for that to be sorted, I'll be adding in my fragrance. I am using lavender in both cases because we are actually adding the soap together. So my Neem powder is ready. Thank you. And I need to mix this thoroughly. I already apologized for using this smaller container. I actually underrated the production, having it in mind that it's just a small production. Let me just do it inside this container. So I hope you have learned from this. If you have benefited anything, you have added any information, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to give this video and any other video that you have watched on this channel that appeals to you or speaks to your need. Make sure you give the video a thumb up. It will help me with the YouTube algorithm. Give the videos thumb up and make sure you subscribe to this channel so that by the time other videos are coming up, you'll be able to benefit. Now I don't have anything to measure this. I'm leaving this to whoever is adding or producing this, to use this according to what you have or according to your discretion. So automatically this becomes a Neem bar. So like I said earlier, the purpose of this is that some other people can use the Neem oil, another person can use ferment the neem leaf. Another person can make a plain soap and add their neem powder into the soap. The bottom line of it is that the soap is still a neem bar. The soap is still a neem soap, and the soap will still work for anti-rashes or prevention and for curing. Maybe the person already has rashes, this will cure the rashes. If the person already has and this does not have drying effect like aloe vera does. I'll be making an aloe vera soap on this channel soon, so please stick around. If you can see the outer part of this container, you can see that the neem powder is thoroughly mixed into the soap. Now it's time to pour in our soap into our mold. So I will withdraw this a little, then I'm going to put this in. So two ways I can decide to just do this like this and pour this into it, but I'm not going to do that because I can see that already my soap is about to solidify. So I'm just going to pour this on top. Subscribe to the paid class. Paid class is on promo for our 2 years celebration on YouTube. I really hope we are going to take advantage of that. Your distance is not a barrier for the paid class, for it's an online section. For those of us that are anywhere we are, anywhere you are, you can actually benefit from the online class. You can make payments in Nigerian currency, or your currency, the paid class is on seller, or if your currency is not there, you'll be able to make payments in US dollars, and the token you are going to be paying will not actually affect you, because the benefit of the cost far outweighs that token that you are going to be paying. I can be using my hand this way because I am putting on a glove. Please don't do this if you are not putting on a glove. Don't assume that the soap is ready and you can start putting your hand. You have to wait until the soap is cured. So I was thinking of making a design, but I think I will do that. I've always thought of this, but let me put this design and see the outcome. I've often used my soap cutter to make some cuttings, but because we are now in the era of this bar soap production, I will be showing us several ways of cutting the soap. So thank you.